Now that we have a way to find our L, LQ, W, and WQ, let us now try to model queuing problems. And let me go first to the most simple, no, the simplest queuing model there is. It is called the MM1 model. What are the assumptions of MM1? First, the inter-arrival time is exponential with parameter lambda, and in this case, we will assume that lambda is constant for any value of n, and the service time is exponential with the parameter mu. And because we have the number one here, then that means there is only one server. Now, the very first step in trying to model a queuing system is to draw its rate diagram. So because we have one server, therefore, if we are to draw the rate diagram, then we have the node 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Now, I wasn't able to mention it a while ago, but another assumption here is that there is no queue limit. No, there's no queue limit that was mentioned in the problem, and therefore your line, your queue can, or your state of the system can grow indefinitely. And therefore, in terms of your rate diagram, your nodes, the state of the system can become infinity. Now, we have our rate-ins. Sorry, not rate-ins, but births. And then we also have our death. Okay. The rate at which your system comes from a state of 0 to a state of 1 is when a customer enters the system. And because the arrival rate has a parameter lambda, then the parameter here, or the rate, is lambda. And the arrival rate is constant no matter what state we are at, and therefore everything on top is lambda. No? And then below, if you have one customer inside the system, how many busy servers are there? There is one busy server. And because every server has a service rate of mu, therefore this is mu. At state 2, there is still a single busy server because there is only one server. Therefore, the rate at which the system moves from 2 to 1 is still mu. In fact, everything below is mu. Okay? So this is the rate diagram for an MM1. And the very first step um, for us is to, if you go back to the slides, our very first step is to get P sub 0. But in order for us to get P sub 0, we need to look for C sub n first. So what is C sub n in this case? C sub n is equal to, by definition, lambda 0, lambda 1, lambda 2, until lambda n minus 1, all over mu 1, mu 2, mu 3, until mu sub n. And this is if n is greater than or equal to 1. But C sub n is equal to 1 if n equals 0. So for an MM1 rate diagram, what is C sub n exactly? C sub n is lambda over mu raised to n. Why? Look, if n equals 0, then applying this formula, lambda over mu raised to 0 is just 1, which supports our definition of C sub n. C sub n is equal to 1 if n equals 0. However, if n is greater than or equal to 1, then look, for example, let's say n equals 1. If n is equal to 1, then this definition of C sub n is lambda 0 over mu 1 only. And because lambda 0 is just lambda, and mu 1 is just mu, therefore, your C sub n is lambda over mu. If we continue, n equals 2. For n equals 2, we have lambda 0 until lambda 1, all over mu 1 times mu 2. But lambda 0 and lambda 1 are both lambdas. Mu1 and mu2 are both mu's. Therefore, lambda 0 times lambda 1 over mu1 over mu2 is actually lambda squared over mu squared, or lambda over mu squared. Okay? Now, because we have C sub n, then technically we can get P sub 0. Remember, what is P sub 0? P sub 0 is the summation of C sub n from n equals 0 to infinity raised to negative 1. And this is equal to, let me substitute, no? So this is from n equals 0 to infinity of lambda over mu raised to n raised to negative 1. Now, let us try to look at this summation term. Because this is a summation term, we can actually expand the summation term. So at n equals 0, this is 1 plus, at n equals 1, this is lambda over mu. At n equals 2, this is lambda over mu squared plus lambda over mu cube, and then so on and so forth. If you can, if you remember your high school math, this is the sum of a geometric series with ratio lambda over mu. And because this is the sum of an infinite geometric series, then the sum of an infinite series is 1 over 1 minus r, which is the ratio, or in this case, lambda over mu. But this is raised to negative 1, no, because of this. Therefore, P sub 0 is equal to 1 minus lambda over mu. It is actually good to note that this sum of an infinite, no, geometric series can be reduced to this equation because if you remember, our assumption is that rho, no, or in this case lambda over s mu, specifically for an MM1, this is lambda over mu is less than 1. And if your rho, which is lambda over mu, is less than 1, then this sum, no, infinite sum, converges to this summation, to this value. Okay? Now, because we have P sub 0 here, then we can technically get P sub n. And what is P sub n equal to? P sub n is just C sub n, P sub 0, and this is equal to this. Lambda over mu raised to n times quantity 1 minus lambda over mu. Now, it will be easier for me to show the next few steps if we convert lambda over mu into rho. So this is rho raised to n times 1 minus rho. Okay? Now, once we have P sub n, then we can technically get L. What is L equal to? By definition, L is equal to the summation of n Pn from n equals 0 to infinity. Therefore, if we substitute P sub n with this, we get this. Now, I will do some magic here, no? What I usually call mathemagic. I will factor out 1 minus rho, and I will also factor out one piece of rho. And therefore, my summation now is an n rho raised to n minus 1 from n equals 0 to infinity. Okay? Now, look at the term inside the summation, n rho raised to n minus 1. if you still remember your calculus, this should be quite familiar. Why? Because this term inside the summation is actually so wait, let me write the summation first. No? So this is the summation of the derivative with respect to rho of rho raised to n. Correct? Because if you get the derivative of this with respect to rho, then we do the power rule. So bring down n and then subtract minus 1. No? Subtract by 1. So we get this. And then, if you do another round of Mathemagic, the sum of the derivatives of rho raised to n is actually the same as getting the derivative of the sum. Why? For example, let's say you have 2x plus 3x. What you can do is get the derivative of each term first. So getting the derivative, you get 2, and then you get 3, and that is equal to 5. Or what you can do is you get the sum first, and then get the derivative. Diba? And therefore, we can simply interchange the two. So we now have the derivative with respect to rho of the summation of rho raised to n from n equals 0 to infinity. Okay? Now, why did we do this? We did this because we actually know the summation of rho raised to n. We don't know the summation of the derivatives, but we know the summation of this. So we needed to interchange the summation and the derivative. So what is the summation of your rho raised to n from n equals 0 to infinity? This is just your infinite geometric series. No? It's the sum of your infinite geometric series, which in this case is 1 over 1 minus rho. And therefore, getting the derivative, no? So imagine 1 over 1 minus rho is just 1 minus rho raised to negative 1. So getting the derivative, we bring down negative 1, and then we subtract by 1 the exponent, and then we multiply by negative 1 because of the chain rule. So this becomes positive, and therefore the derivative of this is actually 1 minus rho raised to negative 2. So this cancels, and we are left with rho over 1 minus rho, or if we bring back rho is equal to lambda over mu, this is lambda over mu, all over 1 minus lambda over mu, no? Get the common denominator, this is mu minus lambda, this is lambda over mu, this gets cancelled, and finally, L is equal to either rho over 1 minus rho, or in this case, lambda over mu minus lambda. So this is your formula for L. And remember, once you are able to get one of the 4 performance measures, your L, LQ, WWQ, using Little's formula, you're now able to get the rest. And let's try to do that. If you have L, then technically you can get W. How? Because using Little's formula, we know that L is equal to lambda W, and because L is equal to lambda over mu minus lambda, and this is equal to lambda W, therefore, we get W is equal to 1 over mu minus lambda. And because we have this other formula for W, and we will use the definition W is equal to WQ plus 1 over mu. Therefore, we can say WQ is equal to W minus 1 over mu. And W is equal to 1 over mu minus lambda, and we subtract 1 over mu. This is mu times mu minus lambda, and combining, we get a mu minus quantity mu minus lambda. Therefore, we get lambda over mu quantity mu minus lambda. And this is your WQ. And finally, because of Little's formula, we know that LQ is equal to lambda WQ. Therefore, LQ is equal to lambda squared all over mu times mu minus lambda. So what we have now is our MM1 model. So how did we do it? Again, let me repeat. First, we drew the rate diagram. And from the rate diagram, we were able to get our C sub n definition. C sub n is this. And because we have C sub n, therefore, we are able to get P sub 0. P sub 0 is this. And because we have P sub 0, then we can get P sub n. Okay. And then because we have P sub n, we can get L. So where is L? L is this. And because we have L, using Little's formula and other definitions, we can get the rest. No? So we have L, W, WQ, and LQ. Now, for the generic MMS model, we have the assumptions: inter-arrival time is exponentially distributed with parameter lambda. The service time is also exponentially distributed with the parameter mu. And in this case, the number of servers is S. As with the MM1 model formulation, we will again start with drawing the rate diagram. And because the formulation and derivation of the formula, different formulas is long, I wrote everything already. Now, looking at the rate diagram, we have the different nodes. So starting with a state of 0, 1, 2, 3, until I'll be identifying S minus 1, a state of S minus 1, a state of S, a state of S plus 1, and then so on and so forth until infinity. As with MM1, the arrival rate is constant. Therefore, the arrival rate on top are all lambda. However, the service rate now differs. Why? Let's take this as an example. Assuming that your queuing system has S servers and that each server has a service rate of mu, therefore, if there is one customer inside the system, then the number of busy servers is 1. Therefore, mu sub 1 is equal to mu. On the other hand, if there are now 2 customers inside the system, therefore, the number of busy servers is 2, and therefore mu sub 2, or the overall service rate when there are 2 customers inside the system, is 2 mu. Your overall service rate increases until S. So imagine if you're already at S, so what is mu sub S? Because there are S servers inside the system, therefore, uh, all of these S customers are in service, and therefore you have S busy servers, and therefore your overall service rate is S mu. On the other hand, if you have S plus 1 customers inside the system, and because you only have S servers, therefore, technically speaking, S customers are busy being served, no? and one customer is in line. And because there are still S customers that are being served, therefore there are S servers busy, and therefore mu sub S plus 1 is still S mu. In fact, um, mu sub n, no, is equal to S mu for n greater than or equal to S already. And because of this rate diagram, then when we define C sub n, we need a split function. We need to split the definition of C sub n. If n is less than S, no, so from 0 to S minus 1, as you can see, the product of everything on top is lambda, so lambda raised to n. And then if you see below, your mu is also multiplied n times, and that is why you have lambda over mu raised to n. But uh, the coefficients 1 is multiplied to 2, multiplied to 3 until s minus 1. And therefore, your C sub n, if n is less than s, is lambda over mu raised to n over n factorial. On the other hand, starting with a state of s, no? So if n is greater than or equal to s, or starting with the state of s, what happens is you multiply everything on top, lambda, s times, you multiply everything below, no? So you get mu raised to s times s factorial. And then afterwards, you multiply lambda over s mu n minus times. And that is why C sub n is equal to this if n is greater than or equal to s. And because this is your C sub n, therefore, in terms of P sub 0 is still the sum of all your C sub n's from n equals 0 to infinity. So we can split the sum into the sum from 0 to s minus 1. And because your n is from 0 to s minus 1, we get this C sub n. We get this. Plus the sum from n equals s to infinity. And your C sub n is now this. We cannot do anything with this part of the equation. So we retain this. But for this part, this term inside the summation is actually a constant. So we can factor it out. We can bring it out. And then we have the summation of this raised to n minus s. And then everything is raised to negative 1. Again, we bring this down. We bring this down again. This summation at n equals s to infinity, if you evaluate this, no, at n equals s to infinity, actually starts with 1 because it's this raised to 0 plus it's this raised to 1 plus this raised to 2 plus until infinity, which again is an infinite geometric series, no? And you're getting the sum. And to get the sum of an infinite geometric series, it's 1 over 1 minus the ratio, and the ratio here is lambda over s mu. Therefore, P sub 0 in the end is this summation plus lambda over mu raised to s over s factorial times 1 over 1 minus lambda over s mu, all raised to negative 1. So this is our P sub 0. Okay? Unfortunately, there is no nice formula for P sub 0. You actually have to do the summation. And once we know P sub 0, once we are able to compute for P sub 0, we can actually get P sub n. But since P sub n generically is C sub n P sub 0, and because C sub n is a split function, therefore P sub n is again a split function where you multiply C sub n by P sub 0. Okay? Now, from here, we can now get L or LQ. And for MMS, I will be getting LQ. Now, if you look at LQ by definition is the summation from n equals s to infinity of n minus s times Pn. So it's the number of excess people, no, the number of people in line times its probability. But you only start the summation from n equals s to infinity, because this is the time where you have a line, and we are getting the expected q length, no? Now, because the summation is from n equals s to infinity, then the p sub n we need to get is this second part. And therefore, we substitute this here. Looking at the equation, this is constant as well as p sub 0. So we will factor out p sub 0 and lambda over mu raised to s over s factorial. But in the same way we did in MM1, we will also factor out one rho. By the way, I forgot to mention that for an MMS model, our rho is lambda over s mu. Therefore, this is rho, and therefore we can substitute lambda over s mu with rho. So what will happen here is I will factor out p sub 0, factor out lambda over mu raised to s over s factorial, and factor out 1 rho. So we have this. And the remaining summation is the summation from n equals s to infinity of n minus s times rho raised to n minus s minus 1. Now, what I will do is I will let a different variable or index j to be equal to n minus s. Now, if j is equal to n minus s, then if n is equal to s, then j is equal to 0. Again, if n is equal to s, then j is equal to 0. Therefore, this summation becomes, so n equals s to infinity transformed into j is actually from j equals 0 to infinity of n minus s becomes j, and then rho raised to n minus s minus 1 becomes j minus 1. Again, we will do our mathemagic. We will transform our summation of this into the summation of the derivative of rho raised to j. And then we will switch again the derivative and the summation. This summation of rho raised to j from j equals 0 to infinity is the sum of an infinite geometric series, which is 1 minus rho raised to negative 1. After getting the derivative, we do the power rule and chain rule. We get 1 over 1 minus rho squared. And therefore, LQ is equal to p sub 0 times lambda over mu raised to s over s factorial times rho over 1 minus rho squared. Or, if you want this in terms of lambda and mu, so this is p sub 0 times lambda over mu raised to s over s factorial times lambda over mu all over 1 minus lambda over mu squared. And after getting your LQ, you will be able to get your WQ, no? Using your Little's formula. So WQ is equal to LQ over lambda. And once you have your WQ, you can get your W by using this definition. And then finally, once you have your W, you can get your L, which is equal to lambda W.